Now, final score with Nick Walters on Fox 16.
Well, as of Saturday with the fall equinox, it's now officially autumn. But a full month into the football season here in Arkansas, it's fair to say that it's already felt like the fall for us sports fans. Okay, we got a whole lot to go over from Friday night, but we start things off with a look back on Saturday. And of course, even if it's tough, the Razorbacks. Hogs in Death Valley Saturday night facing number 12 LSU in the battle for the Golden Boot. We pick things up late in the second. Arkansas leads 6-3 when KJ Jefferson sails it up to Tyrone Broden. Does he hang on? It's called incomplete, but after review, it's caught inbounds for the touchdown. Razorbacks on top by 10, but right before half, Jaden Daniels lets it fly and has his man downfield for an LSU score. The Tigers strike back going into the break. That's the momentum shifter that they needed. Opening drive of the third, and Daniels finds Brian Thomas again on the long ball. The juggling grab and touchdown scamper gives LSU the lead. Later in the third, Tigers up by 1 when Daniels sends it into Malik Neighbors for another score. Arkansas trails by 8 going into the final quarter, and the Razorback offense makes a play when they need one. Jefferson pushed out of the pocket, extending the play, floating it up over the defense to a wide open Luke Haas. The freshman is behind everybody and has himself a touchdown. Arkansas going for 2, trying to knot things up. KJ sits back, slings it, and Haas brings it in. It's knotted up at 24, under 10 minutes to go. Razorbacks trying to make a stop, but instead, Daniels connects with Neighbors for the go-ahead score. 5 minutes to go. Hogs with a chance to answer. KJ flips it over to guess who? Luke Haas. The freshman tight end with his second tutty of the night as Jefferson ties Matt Jones for the all-time Arkansas passing touchdown record. It's 31-all with 5 minutes to go, but with Arkansas out of timeouts, LSU marches down the field, milks the clock, driving closer and closer for a chip shot field goal, and that's how this ball game comes to an end. The Tigers boot it through to keep the boot. Arkansas falling in Baton Rouge 34-31, dropping their second straight game, falling to 2-2 overall, 0-1 in the SEC.
I told the team after the game, we're in the SEC. It's a hard league and everybody's good, but I think LSU is one of the elite teams of this league, and played toe-to-toe at night with them on the road. Now they may have played well, they may not have played. I don't know. I don't know what Coach Kelly thinks of how they played. But we wanted to fight. We went in there fighting, and we just came up short. But there are some positives that you can take from it. That we scored 31 points on what I think is a good defense. If you look last week against Mississippi State, they just weren't able to do it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of positives. You believe you can win several games and things of that nature after a performance of tonight. We just got to clean up the penalties, like I said last week. But the effort has always been there this year. I thought we played a good half on defense, or a good almost a half on defense. And we got to get some things figured out defensively because we didn't stop in the second half.
Meanwhile, over in Jonesboro, the Red Wolves look for their second straight win. A-State leading Southern Miss 20-17 after half until Jalen Rayner hits Courtney Jackson, the Syracuse transfer, going 60 yards to the house. Red Wolves up by 10, and later, Rayner in trouble, but evades the pressure, jumping and flipping into the end zone. Rayner making an impression in his debut as the starter. A-State leads by 14. With 4 minutes to play, Red Wolves only leading by 3 now, but Jalen Rayner calls game. The dual threat QB using his legs to burn the defense, leaving everybody in the dust for the 62-yard touchdown scamper. Red Wolves beat Southern Miss 44-37 to improve to 2-2 on the year. Butch Jones and the Red Wolves are at UMass next week. Okay, over in Conway, it was UCA and ACU in the UAC. Central Arkansas and Abilene Christian play in their first games as members of a newly named conference. We were there for the highlights. UCA Bears back on the stripes for their United Athletic Conference debut against Abilene Christian. The Wildcats start with the ball and start the scoring. Jeremiah Dobbins takes the carry in for the score. 7-0 ACU. UCA doesn't take long to find a spark, and that's Shanderick Powell. The transfer from North Alabama breaks it to the outside to move the chains. Next play, and the Bears go right back to Powell. The Hoxie Arkansas native shedding tackles and keeping his balance, muscling forward for extra yardage. UCA with the chance to strike, and Will McElvain capitalizes, zipping it in to Miles Butler, and it's complete for the touchdown. Central Arkansas knots things up at 7, and after an Abilene Christian field goal on the first play of the second quarter, the Wildcats are backed up. The former Jacksonville Titan Deorius Cobbs pokes it out. It's a scramble for the football. The offensive line can't jump on it, but Jake Golday can, coming up with it for 6. The fumble recovery in the end zone puts the Bears on top, 14-10. After an ACU punt, UCA has it back, and there goes Shanderick Powell again, finding room for the chunk gain. McElvain, looking to make something happen, steps up and hits Gerard Barnes, pushing the ball inside the 5. It's 4th down on the goal line. McElvain rolls out, looking, sending a dart. Bullseye to Barnes at the back of the end zone. Bears finding their roar in Conway. Central Arkansas leading Abilene Christian 21-10 going into half. Well, in the second half, the Bears would prove that competing closely with Oklahoma State was no fluke. UCA rolls Abilene Christian 52-17, a dominating performance by Nathan Brown's team. Central Arkansas looking legit right now at 2-2. They're at Southern Utah next week. All right, on Thursday, UAPB took a visit to Alabama A&M and would come home without a win. The Golden Lions fall 31-24, moving to 1-3 on the year and 0-1 in the SWAC. Pine Bluff will try to get right next week at Southern U. Now on Saturday night, we had a big in-state GAC showdown in Arkadelphia. Number 10 Harding and number 20 Henderson State going toe-to-toe, and the Bison came out on top. Harding wins 27-16, staying unbeaten at 4-0. Henderson State has their first loss on the year, moving to 3-1. That'll do it for your college football scores, but after the break, we look back on week 4 in high school football. Highlights, reaction, and breakdown from Little Rock Christian's shocking blowout over Pulaski Academy. Up next.
You're watching Final Score on Fox 16.
So if you're like me on a Friday night in the fall, you're checking the Fearless Friday scoreboard. There's almost always some eye-popping scores, but few are ever as jaw-dropping as what we saw this week in Little Rock. In maybe the state's biggest rivalry game, bar the Salt Bowl, Little Rock Christian left their crosstown foe, Pulaski Academy, stunned. Check it out. Well, at least once a year, friends between Little Rock Christian and Pulaski Academy become enemies. Now, the 4-time defending state champ Bruins haven't lost to the Warriors since 2019. But tonight, that streak could be snapped. History can repeat itself, but Little Rock Christian looks to change the record on this crosstown rivalry. Pulaski Academy draws first blood. Brandon Cobb goes long and connects with Walden Culpepper for the early strike. 2-point try, no good, 6-0 Bruins. The Warriors answer immediately. Walker White swings it out to Tate Collins, breaks one tackle and another, running free down the sideline and into the end zone. LRCA leads 7-6 and get the ball back after a PA turnover on downs. White finds Collins on that same boundary, scampering inside the 10. White rolls out. The Auburn commit fires on the run. Cade Bowman is in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown grab. Warriors on top 14-6, and on the ensuing drive, the Bruins fail to convert another 4th down and give the ball right back. This play was in the game plan for Little Rock Christian. White to Tate Collins, who shows off the yak ability, powering closer to the goal line. White snaps and shoots, hitting Peyton Brown on the crossing route for 6. Warriors making a statement, jumping ahead 21-6. Still in the first quarter, Little Rock Christian's defense steps up again. Cobb's pass ends up with Cam Mitchell. The interception and return has the Warriors in scoring position. Anthony Lucas can't like what he sees so far as White drops back the pass and takes it himself, juking a Bruin out of his cleats, taking it in on the keeper. It's a jaw-dropping score after one frame. Christian up big 27-6. In the second, the Warriors D comes up with another turnover, a fumble recovery, setting up the offense to deliver more damage. White calling his own number, hurdling a would-be defender, rolling inside the red zone, and call this one a Walker-White legacy game before leaving for the SEC. The future Auburn Tiger fakes one way and goes the other, slicing and dicing his way to pay dirt. Little Rock Christian dominating, up 34-6, and that score sticks until halftime. And the Warriors wouldn't stop there. In the second half, LRCA grows their lead to 55-6. PA eventually, with a running clock, scores a touchdown to make it a final score of 55-13. Mark it up to a rivalry game or anything happens on a Friday night, but Little Rock Christian makes a statement over their crosstown rival. Wow, so we use the term statement win pretty loosely around here, but this was nothing short of a statement by LRCA, and it was made possible by Walker White, accounting for 7 of the Warriors' 8 touchdowns through the air and on the ground.
It's special, but at the same time, we had to understand that sometimes in previous years we get into our head about, oh, we're playing PA, we have to do something different, but it's not about that. It's just about doing our fundamentals, doing what's right, and doing the next play with all that you have, because I was preaching to my guys, leave it all out there on the field. When we give full energy and do our job, we can beat anyone in this state, and I know that. And, yeah, I mean, it's historically a rival game, and it is. You know, they have a historical record of dominating us, and going into my senior year, like, I just had a mindset of I wasn't going to allow that to happen. You know, I did the best I can. Obviously, I had that fumble in the second quarter, and so that kind of caused a loss of momentum, but our guys did a great job of recapturing that, and I was just very proud of them. Yeah, the biggest thing for me is just staying loose. Something that's just helped me is just praying between drives, you know, just keeping my presence with the Lord, and whenever I know that, He'll give me peace. And so that was just the biggest thing for me, because sometimes I can get really uptight and want to rush things. And that's when my balls would go in the dirt or sail. And so it's just all about mentally being relaxed, confident in what I can do. But, I mean, yeah, I believe I've improved in the passing game. That's why I feel like our offensive coaches are trusting us more with the passing game. But our receivers are also, I believe, one of the best in the state. And so, when you put those two things together, it's dangerous. And so I just have worked really hard on just eye discipline in my throws. Sometimes my eyes can get very wild. And so just that's been my main focus for sure. I learned something important about my gameplay, and against Shiloh we went down, and I learned that I wasn't great about playing from behind. Since then I've been trying to train my mind of, okay, like, I can't flinch whenever we're behind on the scoreboard. And so they stopped us our first drive, and they went down and scored. And so I mentally understood. I was like, all right, it's about moving the chains. It's about executing and doing your job. I know that we can score if we just do our job, execute the game plan. And that's what it was all about, moving the chains. My quarterback coaches preach, move the chains. And if you do that, the rest will take care of itself. Plays will be made. All of my receivers made some great plays, and I just give credit to them for sure.
At times, being on the sideline, you just couldn't believe what you were watching. Very jarring to see PA lose in that fashion. And for our analysis, we bring in Fearless Friday writer Dudley Dawson. 55-13, Little Rock Christian over PA. That's the Bruins' worst in-state loss since 2005. Dudley, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was looking at the Fearless Friday scoreboard and thinking there must be a number missing, with Pulaski Academy, because Little Rock Christian was just going, scoring all the time. Walker White, great young man, great young quarterback. He has a lot of talent around him. It all came together for them. Pulaski Academy is probably reeling from this. I'm sure that, Anthony Lucas will get them back together. As you said, not a loss like this since 2005, but Little Rock Christian certainly answered any questions that people have about them. I think they pronounce themselves in Greenwood as the top 2 in their classification right now, and maybe they're headed on a mission to play each other in Little Rock, although I'm sure Pulaski Academy and some of the other teams will have a lot to say about that before it's over.
No doubt, and to the Bruins' credit, their quarterback Brandon Cobb, he has a cast on his non-throwing hand. Maybe their best player, wide receiver John-Mark Charette, he was fighting back from that ankle injury, and he was limping around out there being used as a decoy. So PA not at their full strength, but what does this loss mean for the Bruins going forward as they chase their 5th straight state championship?
Well, certainly Anthony Lucas is going to have his team focused this week. If there were any, areas that they thought they were better in than they were, they're going to get those worked on this week. It's going to be a tough week for them, but I'm sure that coaching staff and those players will get themselves back together. The culture's too good there to just roll over and let this loss, affect them too much. But it certainly was shocking, and it's one of those things. You look at this game, Walker White probably had the best game of an Auburn quarterback, whether it was current one or a future one this weekend. I know they've got to be excited about that. Arkansas surely wanted him, but he's, his family had all gone up here. He decided to take that route to Auburn, and I know they're going to be excited about getting him down there, and especially I'm sure they're going to watch this highlight tape when they get it down there at Auburn and be very excited at what he was able to accomplish in this game. And my goodness, does he sound like a coach or what?
Yeah, a sensational night from Walker White, and we can't wait to see that game between Little Rock Christian and Greenwood later this fall. Perhaps a state championship preview, we'll have to see. But after the break, we're going to take a look at highlights from other notable games on Friday. Rogers, Pine Bluff, Marion, Parkview. We're going to talk about those unbeaten teams coming up after the break.
You're watching Final Score on Fox 16.
Welcome back in. We're going over week 4 of Arkansas high school football, and to help us do just that, we got Fearless Friday rider Dudley Dawson with us. Dudley, there are still some teams in Arkansas that are unbeaten, Rogers being one of them. The Mounties taking down Fort Smith Southside last week, 44-38. What do you make of their start?
Rogers has done a really good job at turning that program around. Obviously 4-0 this year, a 44-38 win over Southside on Friday night. Their biggest test of the season will come at Fayetteville next Friday night. Fayetteville, obviously, also undefeated, has just been roughing up opponents. I think they're averaging something like 50 points and giving up like 10. Been optimistic on both sides of the ball with Drake Lindsay and their defense just playing great ball. But this Rogers team is a little bit different, I think, this year. They've got an edge to them. It should be a really good game at Harmon Playfield, as they call Fayetteville's stadium, when they get together on Friday night.
Talk so much about 7A Central teams at Fox 16, but the 7A West, it's heating up over there too, and Rogers one of those unbeaten teams. And of course, the Pine Bluff Zebras, they are earning their stripes. They beat Maumelle 41-25 to stay unbeaten against Arkansas teams. They did lose their season opener to an out-of-state team. What do you make of these Zebras? That's a very talented bunch.
Well, Courtney Crutchfield, obviously an Arkansas recruit that I know they're happy to have a commit from, a wide receiver that, they think will be able to play very early up here. He's been big for them. As you mentioned, they beat Coach Brian Maupin's Maumelle team this weekend. And I'm sure he was happy that the Green Bay Packers, his team, came back and won today. But, that was a tough loss for them. But Pine Bluff has a lot of athletes, has really been coming on. That is a program that's also been turned around. And someone that looks like they could challenge, because not only do they have stars, but they have complementary pieces that make the whole machine go.
I grew up a Packers fan, so I agree with Coach Mop. We're all happy over here for the Cheeseheads. So how about Marion winning 37-0 over Greene County Tech on Friday?
Yeah, and, a great start for them as well. I'm sure this is going to be a big ball game for them with Benton this weekend. Benton obviously has gotten Braylon Russell back. He's healthy. In fact, I think they've got several guys back. And so that should be a really good test and really a league that could be, as good as any in the state in terms of top to bottom.
Yeah, we had a matchup between two undefeated teams in Little Rock on Thursday night between Little Rock, Parkview, and Hot Springs. Well, let's just say it didn't go so well for Hot Springs. They lost 54-7, the defending 5A state champs rolling, staying undefeated. Do you think anybody can compete with Parkview? Because Hot Springs couldn't.
It's going to be interesting. Parkview, when you go and beat Bryant, and obviously that was a close game, but you've established yourself as maybe the team in the state this year, no matter what classification. And to go out and do what they did to Hot Springs is really something that I was very impressed with. Daryl Burnett has that Hot Springs Trojans program really improved. Was really surprised by the score, but I think they're going to be in a situation where they're going to continue to get better as the year goes along.
Yeah, it's a bad week for Hot Springs, but I bet they could bounce back next week. Dudley, we appreciate your time.
Anytime.
All right, stay right here. More Final Score coming up after this.
You're watching Final Score on Fox 16.
Well, we're still a month away from saying trick or treat, but every Monday in the fall, us football fans get a treat at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Last week, the guest was Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek. Take a look.
Hunter Yurachek.
In downtown Little Rock on Monday, Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek spoke to the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Since being hired in December 2017, Yurachek has helped Arkansas Razorbacks athletics achieve historic success across all 19 sports.
During that same 5-year period, we've won 31 SEC sports among 11 different sports programs. We have 19 sports, 11 have won SEC championships. 31 during that 5-year period is more than any other SEC program.
Working to foster a winning tradition and enhance the experience for all of 465 student athletes, Yurachek says he's very happy to still be at Arkansas for the 2023-24 athletic school year.
It is truly an honor and a privilege for me to serve in this role because of the people across this state and how they support our entire Razorback athletic program. It is special to sit in the chair that I sit, whether you're coming off of a win or a loss, because of the people that support our program.
Awesome. Okay, tomorrow Peyton Hillis will be the guest at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. You can hear from the former Hog that night on Fox 16 News at 9. But that'll do it for Final Score. Up next is In Depth with Graham Bensinger, so stick around. Thanks to the hardworking men and women in the studio and in the booth who make this show possible. And of course, thank you for joining us. See you next week on Final Score.